Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Red Dead Redemption 2 video, we are going to be finding out what happens if you sacrifice the vampire at the Pagan Ritual Site. This is something that you guys have been requesting that I try for the longest time now, and I'm not going to spoil what happens, but it is pretty strange. Like, I wasn't expecting this to occur. So I don't know why so many people are interested in the vampire in the Pagan Ritual Site. Maybe it has something to do with like their eerie connection to death. I'm really not too sure, but they seemed like two valid candidates to bring together. So for starters, we need to actually get the Saint Denis vampire. And in order to do that, we obviously need to be at least in Chapter 2. And then from there, you need to travel to Saint Denis and find all 5 of the mysterious writings written around the area of Saint Denis. They're pretty easy to find for the most part. One of them is located at like the butcher's stand. One of them is located just outside the fence. Another one is located outside of a tavern. And then 2 of them are located like really underneath like some archways and stuff like that. Those are particularly tough to find. I'm sure by now you either know where they are or you know how to find them. And once you've found all 5 of the mysterious writings, what you need to do from there is then wait until after midnight. So what I like to do is go to the hotel or the saloon and then sleep till nighttime. And then go to this location right here where you should see an X marked on the mini-map. And if you do so, you know the vampire will be there. And if you proceed to go into the back alley, this is what will happen.
So, you found me.
Hey, what are you doing?
Stay back for your own sake. I walk with the undead.
What, you're a vampire?
I have been called many names over the centuries. Now go, or I'll feed on you too.
You're a goddamn idiot.
I'll suck you dry.
Okay, so that right there is the Saint Denis vampire. And now for our experiment, we need to keep him alive. So what we need to do is hog tie him. You do not want to kill him, obviously. I mean, you can, but for the sake of our experiment and for getting all the variables out of the way, we'd like to keep him alive. So in order to do that, you're going to need to hog tie him. Otherwise, he will kill you, and then you won't be able to do any experiments with him because he won't respawn. So just sort of keep that in mind. Now, the great thing about this experiment, or I should say the easier part about this experiment, is if you have the vampire like kidnapped like this or hogtied, or even if you put him on the back of your horse, no one's going to bat an eye at this because I think he's considered like an enemy. So you can ride past lawmen and it's not going to generate a wanted level for you. So it does make doing this a little bit easier because you won't have to deal with law and you won't have to deal with paying bounties and all that sort of good stuff. The hardest part is getting him on the back of your horse because your horse definitely does not seem to be a fan of the vampire. He sort of gets scared away every time you try and put him on the back, which is kind of funny. So once we have the Saint Denis vampire, we obviously need to travel near Strawberry. That's going to be our closest location in order to get him to the Pagan Ritual Site, because the Pagan Ritual Site is on the west side of the Owengilla Lake. So for my first experiment, what I wanted to do is keep him alive and also keep him tied up. Again, we're going to try a couple of different experiments here, but again, we want to keep him alive and we want to keep him tied up. So for this simple experiment, what I did was I just simply laid him there, and then what I did from there is I ended up sleeping. I wanted to see if we waited a little bit, what would happen. So I slept for like a full day, a whole 24 hours, and when I returned, I was shocked to find that the vampire was not there. So either someone had untied him, or he potentially escaped the binds that we had him in, but he was no longer there. And there was also no signs of a struggle either on the Pagan Ritual Site. There was no blood or anything like that. So that's a little bit unfortunate right there, that he obviously was no longer there. Now, I thought I was good to go because before I had dropped him down on the Pagan Ritual Site, I had saved my game. However, when I loaded back onto that save, he was no longer on the back of my horse. So I was like, that's kind of interesting. He's not there. I guess I've got to go get him again. So what I did is I went back on another save, and I was able to find him back in the alley once again.
So, you found me.
Hey, what are you doing?
Stay back for your own sake. I walk with the undead.
What, you're a vampire?
I have been called many names over the centuries. Now go, or I'll feed on you too.
You're no more vampire than I am.
I'll suck you dry. You are the seventh.
Okay, so we've got the Saint Denis vampire again, and now we're going to bring him back to the Pagan Ritual Site. This time, instead of dropping him on there alive, what we're going to do is keep him tied up, but this time we are going to kill him. I guess sort of doing more of like a sacrifice, I guess you could say. So what we did is we killed him, but we kept him bound up. You can also see we stole his ornate dagger as well. So he's dead. He should not be able to escape. The only way he would be able to not be on the Pagan Ritual Site when we come back is if someone were to move him or if he despawned, although that's a little bit less fun to think about. So what we did this time is we slept, again, the same amount of time, 24 hours, to allow the Pagan Ritual Site to sort of take its place. And when we returned, once again, he was gone. Not only was his body gone, but the massive blood pile that he was laying in, that had suddenly been cleaned up too. Okay, so how come when we bring normal people to the Pagan Ritual Site, they end up decaying? But when we bring the vampire to the Pagan Ritual Site, he disappears. He won't stay there, like his body vanishes. That is kind of strange. So that was the second experiment that I tried, but I still wanted to try one more, where this time we bring the Saint Denis vampire to the Pagan Ritual Site. This time we untie him, we kill him, and we just drop him there like a dead body. Maybe there was something with like the fact that he was roped up that was messing up the entire experiment. So what I did this time, and by the way, I'm doing this as John Marston. I don't think it matters whether you do this as Arthur or John Marston. I think it will work either way. But this time we brought him to the Pagan Ritual Site. I untied him, I killed him, I picked him up like normal, and I threw his body on there. And now what we are going to do is we are going to sleep and wait for 24 hours. And when I returned, I'm sure you guys can sense the theme that's going on right there. No body. His body was gone. So to my knowledge, this is the only character that I've experimented with so far where if you drop their body on the Pagan Ritual Site, it vanishes. So I'm not sure if I was doing something wrong or if this is something specific to the Saint Denis vampire. Because let's think of all the other people we've brought here. Micah's body, the cave devil, the cave hermit, their bodies stayed here. So what makes the vampire so unique and so interesting? Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments down below. I'm sure there's some vampire experts that might be watching this video that can tell me some properties of vampirism or whatever that case is that allows them to maybe rise from the undead or do something crazy or creepy. But nothing happened. Like, they didn't start rotting. They didn't get, like, resurrected. They didn't start decaying. The vampire's body would just simply not stay put. So, although this was really cool and I totally wasn't expecting this, it wasn't necessarily the coolness that I wanted. Like, I wanted to come back and the vampire be alive and attack us. That would be amazing. But instead, his body just simply vanishes. Now, I don't know if, again, it's because he's a special character or if it's because, he is a vampire and that's a special property that Rockstar gave him. It's just weird because none of the other characters, when you bring them to the Pagan Ritual Site, react this way. They all sort of stay there and decay like normal people. So as always, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Like I mentioned earlier, if you feel like you know what's going on here with the vampire of Saint Denis, why he is disappearing when we've tested all 3 ways in which you can drop him basically on that Pagan Ritual Site. Let me know in the comments down below, or you can reach out to me on my Facebook page. I'd love to hear from you guys down there. If you did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new, or you like daily Red Dead Redemption 2 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.